right, let's go ahead and make your way to a seat for the next talk. Hopefully you were able to get some coffee in between the talks here or a snack. Our next speaker is Michael, who will be talking about Tammy, which is a modular matrix messenger. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you very much. I hope the sound is working. Oh, perfect. OK, thanks. So yeah, I want to talk about Tammy, a modular matrix messenger. And just a short introduction, who am I? I'm Michael. I work at ConnectorX. I'm the co-founder of ConnectorX. Together with Benedict is also here. So if you have any questions after this talk, which will not fit into the question section, then please, we are here until tomorrow evening. So talk to us. We can hopefully answer all your questions that you might have. So we are a company, and we develop a TI messenger client called Timmy. And I was like, wait, Timmy? I think this is about Tammy. Yes, it's no coincidence that those both messengers have a similar name. So I will get to why they are so similar. So the next question is, why are you here? I mean, it's a talk about a matrix messenger. Come on. There are not enough matrix messengers. It's like Cine, Casv, Fluffy, you have Nico, you have Element, Element X, you have Hydrogen, and you have lots more. I could spam the whole picture here with matrix messengers. So why should you care about Tammy, another matrix messenger? So we have a special use case, and this use case is, well, sometimes you need a messenger that needs some special oomph for your domain, like a TI messenger, where we are coming from, which is a specialized messenger for the German healthcare system, and it has some special needs inside the client. And yeah, it's kind of a matrix messenger, but it's a matrix messenger plus some features or minus some features. And you could go, the matrix ecosystem is great. They're all those messengers I just shown to you, they are open source. You can go to their repository, you can clone it, and then you can start fiddling around, and it's fun. It's really fun. You can change it to your needs. You can say, well, I have this specific domain need, and I can change it in the UI, and perfect. It works. But then, there's always a but. But then, upstream changes, upstream updates. So most of the time, you fork a repository, and then you start changing the code, and then Element decides, well, we have a new feature, or we change something, we refactor something, because, yeah, that's what you do in software development. And then you're like, oh, no, I have to integrate those changes into my changes. And I think most of you can agree that this is not so much fun. Yes, you can do it, and we know several companies who do it, but it is not fun, and it also slows you down. And the more you change, the more upstream change, merge, conflicts you have. And this is something that can be painful. I'm not here to say, well, don't do it, but it can be a real painful experience. So I'm here today to talk about how can we make extending a messenger both fun and long-living without all those pains? Well, not without all the pains, because there's always a but hopefully I can convince you that our architectural approach is a little bit better than forking and merging again. So let's jump into a time machine and look back. It's not the first time that we are on stage for Matrix community. So Matrix Summer in 2022, Benedict had a talk about Trixnity. At Matrix Summer 23, we both had a talk about Trixnity Messenger. And now at Matrix Conference 24, I'm talking about Tammy. And you're like, well, it's just gibberish on this on the slide. You're just putting out a lot of words, made-up words, so why should I care? Well, with our talks and our layering, we have described our architecture very neatly. It's a long con. We needed 3 years to complete it, but now it's complete. At the bottom, we have Trixnity, which is kind of a model. It abstracts from Matrix, client-server API. So it puts everything into Kotlin. That's our language of choice, Kotlin multi-platform, because it can compile into every runtime under the sun. I want to say, like, you can do native applications, Android, you can compile to iOS, you can also compile to JavaScript. So Trixnity is like the machine room of our messenger. That's where everything matrix-related happens. All the communication with the server, the encryption, the rooms, organization, the local data store, the caching, and so on. That's Trixnity. That's an SDK, and you can use it. It's open source. It's under Apache license, so everything is great there. But when we started implementing our TI messenger, we quickly realized that such an SDK is a nice base to develop a messenger, but a messenger is so much more. There are so many features, like a room list, which is ordered in some specific way, the timeline, which is really complex and has lots of interactions. And, well, Trixnity has all the parts that you can use to implement a room list and a timeline, but you have to do manual work. And if you want to use a different UI layer, then you have to do it again and again. So we introduced another layer called Trixnity Messenger. Because Trixnity is just Matrix, so Matrix can be used for many things besides messaging, but Trixnity Messenger is focused on messaging. And it's so much focused on messaging that we developed view models, that's the abstraction we provide there, which compute everything that the Matrix server is sending to us for a Matrix messenger view. So you can think about it like you have a view model for a room list, because a room list is something a messenger should display, some kind of organization where your rooms are. And it also has a room list element view model, because every room has maybe a title, it has a picture, and maybe you want to display a last message and when it was sent, and you want to display those kind of information. And yeah, that was last year when we presented that. And we said, well, you can go there and you can use this SDK and you can plug in your own UI layer on top of it. And that is really great, because if you want to have a specific UI that is built from the ground up, you can use this SDK, and then you can build a messenger, a Matrix messenger with it. And Trixnity Messenger is also extendable. So if you don't like anything that's in there, or you want to change something, or you want to add new functionality, it has all the bells and whistles to do that. I don't want to go into details here because it's not about Trixnity Messenger, because it's now about the next layer. And then we are on the UI layer. So in Trixnity Messenger, we have view models which can abstract for a potential UI and provide all the information that the UI needs. But you still have to implement the UI. And this can also be quite painful process, quite long. So for a messenger, maybe with a small team, you need like 2 or 3 months to get a messenger really going. But then you have your own UI. But most of the time, maybe you say, well, I would like to have a UI to start with, maybe a UI that works on different platforms, and I want to just little bits, and want to extend it. So this is where Tammy is now located. So Tammy uses Trixnity Messenger, all the view models that give all the information to display, and Tammy displays it in a way. And it's also implemented in Kotlin, so we have Kotlin all the way through. And the UI technology here is Compose multi-platform. So it is, I don't know if any Android developers here, Jetpack Compose is like the new Android UI toolkit. And they took this toolkit and implemented it also for desktop and for web. So that's why it's multi-platform. So yeah, and I want to show you. I want to show a live demo. I hope everything works. When I removed the display port before, my IDE crashed, so hopefully everything works now. So yeah, please show me the app. So this is live, and don't worry about the sync taking a while. I wanted to connect with the Wi-Fi, but then it didn't work with the Synapse server, so I have to use my phone. And it takes a bit longer than normal. That's not normal that the sync takes this long. But yeah, this is our Matrix Messenger UI. So yeah, nothing spectacular. You get everything you expect. You have a room list, and I can click on a room. Oh, I'm in the general matrix conference room. And yeah, I can send a greeting to you. So hello, Lab 4. And if someone writes something in the room, it will display here. So nothing spectacular. It's a matrix client. We have some things that we have implemented on top. Oh, someone said hi. Thank you. Oh, it's Lab 3. Oh. Oh, we are in Lab 3. I am so sorry. But thank you for correcting me. Yeah, we have a full-blown Matrix Messenger with nearly all the features you expect from Matrix Messenger. We cannot compare ourselves to the feature set of Element yet, because Element is like feature complete or more than feature complete, but most of the things work. So you have your text messages, images, and so on. You have your notifications. You have some things you can you can browse who's ever in the room. You have some administration stuff if you have the rights to do it, and so on and so forth. Some really nice part, I think, that we have is a multi-account feature. So like in your email program where you have multiple email accounts that you use simultaneously, you also can use it here. So I just switch to another account, and then I see only rooms of that account. Or if I'm really brave, I do all the accounts. So now we have, with color-coded, maybe it's not that visible, but some are with an orange and some are like purple from the different accounts, but I can also switch between both accounts. And they work, they're completely separated, they have their own database, their own encryption and everything. So you can just add another account, and there you go. And then you have multi-account feature inside the Messenger. So I really like this feature. I really like it for presentations. I really like it for private use. So that's a really nice thing. So yeah, that is Tammy. You're the first public that can see this Messenger. So congratulations. This is like. Now I want to show you something else. I will start another client. And, well, this is Tim. Also, at the beginning, I don't know why it's so slow here, but we have to do a version check. And then, wait. When I started the other client, it was just like, OK, I sync, and now I'm in my view, and I see all my rooms. Now it says, well, please provide a PIN. Why is that? Well, this is Timmy, the TI messenger. So the TI messenger has a restriction that says, well, at the beginning of your session, you have to provide a PIN to really verify that you're the person using this account. So now I can provide my very special, very secret PIN. And if I do that, it kind of looks the same. So now we have different colors, maybe. Before it was green, now it's blue. So we can distinguish them a little bit. because otherwise you go crazy in which messenger I'm now. Yeah, we have color-coded our messengers a bit. And then when it finally starts, you see, well, it looks kind of the same, but eerily a little bit different. It's in German, yeah, because TI Messenger is German market, but here I have this yellow thing that says, well, there are some old rooms here and I want to remove them. Would you like to remove those rooms? I don't want this in my matrix messenger, but the TI messenger, it's enforced. There's a specification that says, well, if rooms are too old and nothing happened in this room, it has to be deleted, or the user should be informed to be deleted. So this kind of widget or something like extension of the messenger did not exist in Tammy, but it exists in Timmy. And we have several of those things. When I want to create a new chat, I can go back to Tammy. Then I can create a new group or search for a group, and then I can search for a name here. If I go back to Timmy, you see it looks a little bit different besides the German. But there I have a own organization. I can search for people in my own organization. So when I search for Carl, I get a Dr. Carl Tanaka, because that's one of the person in my organization. And if I go to another organization and I search for Carl, hopefully this works now with my wonky Wi-Fi setup here. Otherwise, just imagine that there are lots of calls here. I think, yeah, that's the live demo part I'm not very fond of. Something always happens. Just imagine there are lots of calls here that are working in other organizations, because in the TI Messenger you have a centralized phone book, so to say, and now I'm searching for a call in this centralized phone book. But yeah, I think it's the Wi-Fi setup that's making it difficult here. But you can't have everything. But yeah, there are some more things here, like in the profile I can provide my own matrix ID to the central pages and so on, and this is also something we don't see in our matrix messenger. So yeah, that's Timmy and Tammy. So just to give you a quick overview, they look kind of the same, they behave kind of the same, but they have some differences. So that's how I started the app. This is Tammy, and this one is Timmy. Can you spot the difference? It's a tiny bit.
Tim or messenger?
Yeah, this one has a messenger configuration, and this one has a Tim configuration, and that's all. Magic. It's just one configuration parameter. It's the same app, the main. We call start messenger, which is defined one time, and then when we start Tammy, we use a messenger configuration or Tammy configuration, whatever we want to call it. And if we start the Timmy client, then we use the Tim configuration. So yeah, just some kind of stats, Tammy versus Timmy. So in Timmy, there were 20 features, kind of 20 features added or changed. Access control, search, QR code, and so on, and like 15 or so new views or altered views. And the white labeling, like you saw, the colors were different there. So, oh, that's nice, okay. Yeah, what just happened? We just provided another configuration, and it was extensions everywhere. So we used the base layer of Tammy, our messenger, and then we extended it. So it's not like you have to look here, but this is one configuration for Tammy, and this is the this is the configuration for Timmy on the logic side. So we can exchange logic, which is Trixnity messenger. If you remember the view models, we also provide new view models or altered view models. This is the configuration for all the view models. It's not everything here, but just to get an idea. And this is the configuration for all our views. So we also can provide new views or altered views to extend and change our client here. So yeah, what we did, we deconstructed our house into some logic parts and into some UI parts, and then we built it back together, and it looked similar but different. So what can you do with this approach? Well, if you say, well, this matrix messenger looks really fine. I just want to do some white labeling. I don't like the fonts and maybe some other parts. I want to change the name, of course. I want to change the name. So you can do white labeling. So you use our standard messenger, and then you can provide your own product, your own project, and you just do some white labeling. And it's not much. You have to implement like, I don't know, 15 different files at most if you want to change something, and then you're done. Then you have your own messenger. But it looks and behaves the same as Tammy in most of the ways. But you can go deeper, like we did with Timmy. So on the logic side, you can extend Trixnity Messenger with your own matrix client logic, with altered new domain logic. On the view, you can also extend the standard view with your own or altered view parts, and then you can do your white labeling on top. That's what we did with Timmy. So now you can build your own messenger, like we did. It's nothing spectacular now, because this is our base. And Tammy, what you just saw, is just white labeling. It's just a small layer on top, a small project, where it's just white labeling. And our Timmy client, well, it's a bit more complicated, like you saw, new views and new logic, like the search in the phone book and so on. So we have some TI messenger logic and some new UI parts, and then we white label it to Timmy. And now you can create your own messenger, like Mommy, and like recipes, logic, and UI. Of course, I'm joking here. Maybe some of you saw some TI messenger talks today. If you have, there are like different TI messengers that are planned. So now we have a TI messenger that is directed at professionals in the healthcare industry. So TI Messenger Pro, which is one messenger. Then we have TI Messenger for the insurance, for all the people that are insured by public insurance in Germany. They get another client. And then we have other clients for digital healthcare applications that will be developed later. And they also need some kind of adoption, but it's not much. It's just little things that need to change depending on what the specification says and maybe what's your use case. We had to talk today about University of Mainz, where they said, well, we have some special features for those people. Yeah, of course, they want to have special things in their UI. And with this approach, you can just do some extensions. You can use the code base like it was before. We can develop our matrix messenger, and we can do updates, and you don't have to do upstream changes because you just extended with our clean architecture. So I think there are lots of use cases. Like you think, because Mommy is not that far-fetched, if you think about a messenger for family members. You don't want the element experience where it's like, yeah, it's a messenger, it can do everything. And you throw the kitchen sink and everything on them, but maybe a reduced messenger, which has very limited features. Just overwrite some configuration here, take out some parts, and then maybe you have a family messenger that you can use for the people that you love and like, and they can have a matrix messenger that is not overburdening them with features. So, last slide, where you can find all this stuff. In Trixnity Messenger, you find all the base, where you you can find the logic and the UI, which you can extend. Then we have the Tammy repository, where you can find the white labeling for the Tammy client. As I said, it's not much. Most of the interesting part is in the first repository. And if you have any questions after this conference or so, there is also a room where we answer questions on this stuff. So that's all from my side. If you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer them.
Great talk, by the way. You mentioned that Trixnity, the library is Apache too, but what is the licensing of the rest of the stack?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot that. The Trixnity, the base layer, is Apache license, so you can use it and also in commercial products. And for Trixnity Messenger and for our TI extensions, we have AGPL. So for Trixnity Messenger, you can use it in your open source project. So you can use it and play around with it. But if you want to use it in a commercial setting, then we have to talk about licensing.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks. Great talk. An excellent project. Comparing with Element, what features are missing? For example, voice notes, spaces.
Yes, there are some of the more advanced features missing. So one of the features I missed the most is reactions for now, but we are already working on that. You also have no voice chat or like element call or something like that integrated in it. So it's just like normal text, image, or voice messages and so on. So there are some features still missing, but we are implementing it as steadily. So yeah, and spaces also, we have a kind of primitive support for it, because spaces is like an advanced feature, and our main focus for the last years was the TI messenger. And if you put we heard it before today, if you put medical people or non-techies in front of a messenger and you confront them, oh, we also have spaces and you can do this, this, and this, they will run away. So we hid most of the spaces stuff. You can access it a bit, but you cannot create spaces or something like that. We plan to do that in the future, and maybe we only do it in Tammy, but we will exclude it in Timmy because of our architecture. It is possible. But our main product at the moment is Timmy, so that's why some features are still missing. Yeah.
Other questions? Yes.
Thanks. So 2 questions. One question is Kotlin. The Android Element client is also in Kotlin. Did you have any reusability, things like pieces of code that you could reuse?
100% code reuse. That's our Android client. 100 code reuse for all the logic, 100 code reuse for all, nearly 100.
No, I mean the Element Android.
Oh.
The Element Android Kotlin code. Could you reuse any of that? Because that's also open source. Yeah. And it's also already implemented in Kotlin. Or is this like a whole new way of implementing inside of Kotlin so that it can compile for all the...
I think the most, where is it? Why does it, okay, so many animations. This is the one. We implemented the whole stack from ground up.
From scratch?
So, yeah, it's from scratch. Trixnity is like comparable to Rust SDK or something like that. Trixnity Messenger is kind of unique because we don't see it in other. The Rust SDK is implementing some parts of it, but it's really only small portions of it. And yeah, so no reuse there, unfortunately. It's a whole new stack here.
Even though it's Kotlin?
Yeah, even though it's Kotlin, yeah.
There was no like SDK that you could reuse?
No, we evaluated. So we started like 3 years ago, and we evaluated at that point, and Element had this really nasty distinction between all the platforms with 3 SDKs, and we knew as a small company we cannot we cannot use all three and then make all three ATI messengers. So we decided to build it from the ground up, and with the architecture always in mind that we want to change it for different use cases.
Just another question. This kind of like model where you can white label stuff and you can add features, remove features. I don't necessarily think that that's something that Element didn't try to do.
Yeah.
I think that was also kind of tried. And I feel like there's a downside to it. You didn't speak about the downside. Could you maybe say why, what is the downside? Or maybe I could ask someone at Element what the downside is and why they didn't do it better, so to say?
Yeah, there are some downsides. So when you extend something, we kind of make a contract, which is some interfaces you have to implement. And if those interfaces change in the future, you have the same problem as with upstream changes. You have to adopt and do all the interface changes. And another thing, when you provide your own UI widgets or features here and there, and you do it in a certain style that now fits our style that we now use, and then one day we decide to revamp our whole UI with another style, then your widgets or your kind of components look out of place. So I think that's one of the obvious downsides you have, and there could be more, but with Tammy and Timmy, we are not experiencing that much. But it's all our products, so yeah, I think it's a bit unfair to say there are no downsides there, but I can think of those two, yeah.
And one more question.
Hi, very cool work. As someone who's interested in the multi-platform app dev UI toolkit space, but in Rust, this is the first example I've seen of someone actually using the Kotlin Jetpack Compose thing across multiple platforms. Maybe this is too detailed for an online question, but feel free to just give a couple small points. I was just wondering, how has your experience been with it? Are there any challenges you faced, like specifically, idiosyncrasies that differ across different platforms, things like that, and how did you address them?
There are platform-specific things you have to implement, of course, but Kotlin has a nice way on a language level to say, well, I expect something from all platforms, and then you can provide actual implementations on all the platforms. And they also do it in the Compose. You can use this expect actual pattern, and you say, well, I expect something like a popover that's not available naturally on all Compose multi-platforms, but then you can provide your own popover for web or for Android or whatever. So I think the language abstracts it really nicely, but you have to put in some work. And also accessing like files and so on. It's different on every platform, but Kotlin is a nice toolkit to work around those limitations, and they give you all the tools that you need to build specifics for this specific platform. So if you look at the code, we have common code, which is most of the part, like 95%, and then we have like 5% code that is like iOS and then Android and then web specific for like files and camera access and so on.
Okay, this is a very popular talk. We have 2 more questions. I'm running a little bit over.
Thanks. Perhaps it's an easy question, but I didn't get it in detail. Is it like Trixnity Messenger now is a dependency of Tammy, or
Yes.
I didn't get why you don't have to do the upstream part?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Trixnity Messenger is a dependency of Tammy, so those arrows are dependencies. So everything is built on top of the other layer, so it's like a layered architecture. And the upstream part is missing because that's a little bit into details, but we provide interfaces here. And you can use those interfaces, and we provide standard implementations for this. But you can change those implementations with configuration. Like I showed you, you can provide different configurations, and then you have a completely different client. And and those interfaces, we try to keep those stable. So we can change our standard implementation, but if you replaced it or you extended it, it should not bother you that we changed something in our standard implementation, because
Like a library.
It's like a library, yes. It's not something you have to fork and change like the real thing, but you always extending something like the interfaces, and you don't care if we change something in implementation. If we change the interface, then yeah, we are both screwed. But we try to keep those as our contract between us and you as a person who wants to extend.
And we have one more quick question.
I just want to ask how the crypto is done. I guess it's also an own implementation, or?
Sorry, I didn't get...
The crypto, how is it done?
Crypto is in the Trixnity part, and it's done. Oh, Benedict, maybe you can answer it more more precisely.
Maybe you come to the talk tomorrow, because there is a talk about Trixnity.
We need half an hour to explain that, but it's already done in Trixnity. So if you just need that, maybe the SDK on the bottom is enough for you.
Teaser for tomorrow.
Yes.
All right, let's give a big round of applause.